Now streaming on podcast platforms everywhere. The brand new Protectors of Peace podcast with your host, Omaka Zen. Our mission is simple. Our mission is pure. Our mission is bold. Our mission is global. Protect the peace of our planet, our human nature, and our way of life. We will be dropping brand new episodes every first and third Sundays of the month. We will be talking to some of your greatest peace advocates, peace activists, and peace ambassadors. You don't want to miss a single episode, so don't forget to subscribe, download, and share the message around the world. And remember, bold conversations encourage bold change. Thank you for joining and listening, tuning in to Protectors of Peace podcast. Once again, we are back with another season of continuous greatness, continuous dropping gems. I am, the average guy here, just trying to bring you something special. And I want you to know that this season of podcasting is going to be unlike any other. If you have been following me, subscribe to previous podcast shows, there's always times where I'm always changing it up, giving you a different taste, a different feel, and bringing you a different type of flavor. As a chef, I like to do that. But this season of podcasting is I'm bringing back the new invited guest platform where we bring on new guests, we bring on different guests, we bring on people who speak about peace, love peace, is peace, spread peace, and talks about it all the time in their practices, their fields, their businesses. I am going to be sharing with you our first guest for this season. Her name is Janaye Hardy. Janaye will be talking about how do you create a sacred love relationship with yourself. This interview style and way of speaking is allowing me to kind of sit back and be the student once again, learn something. And that's why I bring these guests on, so that not only you can learn something, but I can learn something. And something else I want to share is that stories are powerful. Learning from other people's stories, personal journeys, experiences is the most powerful thing that we can all do. So here we are bringing you again to the platform, none other than the very esteemed Janaye Hardy. Listen in, tune in, share, download, do all the great things to keep this podcast going and more episodes going. But I want to first say, before I let you go, thank you for being here and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Protectors of Peace podcast. I am your host, Omaka Zen, and I am the urban scholar and the founder of the Protectors of Peace podcast. I am glad to have you here with me, glad to have you listening, glad to have you tune in. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast show so you do not miss a single episode. Today, on episode 2 of our podcast, we are discussing a very, very important topic, a very, very intriguing topic, and I think one that is catching the world by storm. And that is the topic of self-love. And I have none other than the esteemed Janaye Hardy with me. Janaye Hardy is a business owner, the CEO of Modern Madusa Mindset Life Coaching. She is an author and also something I know, and she's a beautiful, beautiful poet. I want to welcome to the platform today, Protectors of Peace podcast show, our very own guest, Janaye Hardy. Hi.
Hello, everyone out there. Hello, Maka. I'm so honored to be here. How are we doing today?
We are doing wonderful. I'm doing great. I feel good. Got a new platform going up for the people to get good information from. I'm just happy and excited about a new season of catching these good downloads. So yeah, I'm feeling good doing this again.
Awesome.
How about yourself?
That's beautiful. I'm doing amazing over on my end. I'm taking each day at a time. That's all we're granted. So I cannot complain. I won't complain. I'm grateful. I'm blessed, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into the topic at hand, and that is just our topic of today is creating self-love, creating a space for yourself of loving yourself. I believe that topic is a very important topic because uh, creating a sacred love relationship with yourself is very important to somebody like me who practices um, these inner works of self-love. I want to just go right into this and just kind of like let you run off with whatever you want to go, however you want to take it, and I'll follow your lead in this. But how does one, Janae, how does somebody create or cultivate a space of self-love?
Wow, that's a beautiful topic and a great discussion, I feel like. And it should be talked about more. And I think, like you said, in this day and time, we are discovering more of that self worth and that self love. And to answer your question, I think it does look different for everyone, but I do think it starts with the core. I think it starts with putting yourself first and not being afraid or ashamed to do that. To sometimes be selfish, to put up boundaries, to really say, I love me enough to hold myself to a standard or to put myself in a space of loving and nurturing and caring so that I can pour into other people, right? Because if my glass is empty, I can't pour to someone else. I have to love on myself. I have to pour into my glass, into my vessel, to be able to give to the community, to the world, to our family and friends. So it starts with the core, really knowing who you are, appreciating yourself.
Mm, you practice this in your coaching, do you?
I do.
What does that look like for the average client that comes in looking for a service? What is the layout? What is the platform that you start from when you talk to your clients and people that you help coach in this, or just somebody that's just coming across the wire on your phone saying they're having a bad day? Like, where do you point them?
Mm. I'd point them at beginning, the beginning steps of why is this feeling arising, of self doubt or self, having that not self worthness, feeling. Where does that stem from? Talking about those beginning conversations, and then once we have the aha moment of, why this is here, why this feeling is arising, really going to the feelings that make us feel safe and make us, have that peace, tranquility. And again, that looks different for everyone. Someone may want to go to the water and meditate, and someone may want to have quality time with family and friends to feel the love and the worth, exude that way. So it's really breaking down why is that feeling of self doubt here, recognizing that, and then realizing what can I do to take the steps to feel appreciated, loved, and whole, whether that's within self or leaning upon other people's for self.
Mm. I tell people anytime, I'm feeling down, I go to the water, and I heard you mention the water. And so water, it just brings about a sense of tranquility within somebody, so within one's own self. And it does have that effect of em- emitting peace into our atmosphere, so to say. Hmm?
Absolutely. The water is one of, I can agree with you there. It does bring a sense of peace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I practice a lot of self love things, like I do affirmations, I do meditation, because this is all inner work, right? This is all the inner stuff. Like affirmations is getting what's in out, and meditation is getting what's out from going in, from getting in. And I like to look at life in a different way, right? I always say, I have a saying that goes like this: your biosphere creates your atmosphere. And that means whatever is going on in here, whether it be good or bad, you're going to be living in the atmosphere of that. Um, what are something that you do to protect that, so that that atmosphere, so that you walk in that, so that you're walking in that atmosphere? What do you do to protect your biosphere so that your atmosphere is filled with what's coming from your biosphere?
Mm, wow. That is a beautiful perspective to have, I think for me, that looks like really sitting down and being still with my thoughts, really having some time to self reflect. I have many crystals that I may meditate with or, kind of research and find the alignment there. I'm not too significant with tarot, but I do have a tarot deck where I'll pull a card and I may read, spiritually wise, what's connecting with me, and try to understand that. Um, the water again, that's a big practice for me, going out and really reflecting by the water. Really just practicing things that bring peace within myself, breathing exercises. Sometimes I'll become a big kid and I'll color, I'll paint, um, you know, kind of things in that sense to align myself. And then mentally, outside of something that I can tangibly do mentally, I tend to I tend to remind myself that most things are temporary. So this feeling is temporary, it's not forever. So then the question is, how long can I bear the temporary feeling of, the hurt, the confusion, not being in self, um, to when I can align myself back to peace. So really having those conversations within self, that helps a lot.
Mm. That was that what you said really did hit me square in the neck. You know what I mean? Like, just that peace and doing those things, like being a kid. Like, a lot of people don't understand that I'm a kid at heart, and I like to laugh, I like to play, but I don't like to take life too serious. And so, for me personally, um, I think where we get trapped mentally, is when we believe that we are supposed to be one dimensional. And I noticed that you are not a one dimensional being. You are a poet, you're a business owner, you are a author, and you might got a few other things out there that I'm not aware of. But I like to think that we're multifaceted beings. Um, People like to trap themselves in being one thing. Do you feel is that a healthy perspective to have on life, to just kind of like stay in that one lane? Or do you promote to, like, your clients, and when you're teaching people and you're coaching, to get out and spread yourself and explore different things? And what is your practice on helping clients get through that phase of being stuck?
So I encourage clients and beings, in general, that if you have a gift, if you have something that you're passionate about, do it, and whether that is, being an author and a poet and a business owner, just reflecting on myself, don't limit yourself. There's so much life to live. And I think about my parents and times during that, where they're hard workers, but they stayed in that one dimensional sense. But I'll see greatness and gifts in my father, and his cooking, and my mother and her decorating. And I'm like, you could be a decorator out here, mom. Dad, you could be selling your food. You could be catering. You could have a restaurant. You can, there's no limits to what your gifts are and what you can do. So I encourage anyone, and especially my clients, that if you have a vision for it, it's yours and you can get it done. Don't limit yourself, and you never know in life what what you may love and what you may not love so much. If you have to explore, you know.
I love the fact that you pointed out that your mom and your dad had gifts decorating and cooking, even though they were one dimensional. And I kind of get what you're saying in that sense, right? They were one dimensional, meaning they probably stuck to one job, each. Both of them had one job. They came home and did their thing as parents, but they also really didn't keep that under arrest. They allowed that to come out and flourish. They allowed their cooking to be seen. And so they were actually, tapped in. They were tapping into that multifaceted part of themselves. And you say you encourage your clients to get out there, and
Mhm.
that was beautiful. Beautifully said. I love that. If you have the vision for it, it's yours. So uh, you see people struggle a lot. I would I would believe, because you're a life coach. Um, like, how do you translate the way that you help, and take it outside of coaching? Because I know you're a poet. Like, your writing, like, what does that your writing reflect like when you're writing? How do you use your poetry to translate that same love that you pour into your clients? How do you use your poetry to translate that very love when you write?
When I first began writing, I journaled, and it was to allow my thoughts to live outside of my head. And I just didn't want to, feel alone. And I thought, well, me and my page have something in common now. So when I began to create on a more professional basis and work with clients, I still kept the same character, the same feeling of not wanting to be alone and not wanting my clients or the world to feel alone. So when I write, it is for me, it's therapeutic, but it's also to speak for someone who may not be brave enough at the time to speak
Mhm,
their story,
mhm.
or may, never speak their story, but at least they know that they haven't been through it by themselves. So that's really my aspiration and goal. And um, throughout my professional years, I would say the past 5 to 6 years, I've seen so much, dealing with children and teens and foster cares and domestic violence survivors, and kids in the school system. It's been very beautiful, but I also have noticed that a lot is unsaid. So if I can be brave enough and let the universe move through me to speak within my poetry or within my work of art, I'll do that, and I'll continue to do that hopefully until I breathe my last breath.
Writing for the youth, writing for, to speak out, writing to be a voice. That was powerful. That was powerful. I love that. And I'm a fellow poet as well. So that's why I acknowledge that you being a poet. And being a poet is so true, right? When we write, sometimes, like, I notice with myself when I'm writing, that I don't even know that I'm talking about me in the moment until I actually finish the whole poem and hear it. And I realize, whoa, that was about me. But when I share it, I hear how so many other people can relate to my situation. And it's like, it makes it so much more easier for me to accept me and my flaws. Have you, Janaye, accepted yourself for your past flaws, your pain, the traumas you've been through? Have you accepted? And how do you accept? Like, what are the things you've come through to accept about yourself?
Yes. And it's taken a journey, and that's a part of self-love as well, is really accepting your past, but most importantly forgiving your
Mm,
past and forgiving yourself. I look back and I really reflect that I was not the same person I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, more so 10 years ago. So it would be injustice and unfair to myself to hold on to a version that no longer is me at the present moment. So I think it's really important for us to give ourselves grace and give other people grace. But most importantly, for that self love journey, to really reflect and look back and say, I was here at this time and present, but that's not currently, and all I have is now. I don't have the past. That's already past me. I just have now. So I have to love on that version of me now, because the future person is going to need me, you
Mm.
know?
Oh God, that was so good. Dropping gems. I have to repeat that. You need yourself now. What do you say? The past, you have to be here now because your future self needs me.
That's right.
Oh my God, that was good. I ain't never heard it like that. That was good. I appreciate that. Was a gem. The poet showing up today. Yes, yes, yes. I enjoy being in this moment right now because I'm just hearing some things, not knowing that. Haven't seen you in a few spaces. I have not known you to have this this insight like this. And of course, you're right, you got to get to know people to know what they hold, right? Uh Jan- Janaye, you practice a lot of self-love, I see. And through writing, through poetry, through your storytelling, through your coaching even, and through your own self practices. Um, what does Janaye want for the world to experience the peace that she's experiencing?
I want the world to experience joy and love and happiness. And I feel like once you've been in a place at your darkest moment, your deepest hole, you would never wish that on anyone. And that fuels my fire. I've been at a place where, I didn't know where I would sleep that night. So I would never, judge in the sense, and also, um, that gives me again that fuel to help people in the community. I've had moments where my stomach rumbled. So I always, want to encourage and give back in that sense as well with my business. So moving forward, the experiences that I've had in life, it helps me be there for someone else, because I know that we each experience life and we're all going through something, whether it's big or small. So that's the goal, to really reach out and help in any way that I can within my business, and just myself personally.
This is good. Tell us about your book real quick, and what's the title of it?
So I've just released Underneath It All Part Two, and it is a second part to my first book, Underneath It All. This book is really, really um, heartfelt to me. I was able to express myself not only in a poetic sense, but again, being that big kid. So in this book, I also have illustrations that are drawn or painted by me. So I'm super excited about that. I was able to pull out canvases and paint and really dive into that creative side. And I feel like it's a really touching book. It explores into three different sectors, which is my bipolar depression, my Black is beautiful, and my best self. So it's really a journey. The first book was published in 2018, so 5 years later, or 4 years, 5 years later, really seeing the growth. I love it. So that's to be out on the lookout for. It's online now on Amazon. Underneath It All, Part Two
Mm.
by Modern Madusa.
You said bipolar depression. I believe I suffer from some of that too myself. Bipolar. I didn't know there was a thing called bipolar depression. I thought it was just bipolar. I feel like I got some of that in me a little bit, some bipolarism. I'm like, hey, I keep switching these personalities and whatnot, but I think it's me just I heard it said before. It's called inter intrapersonal. It's like traveling through these persons that you are. And that's another topic for another day. I don't really want to take up too much
That's
time on.
interesting.
Yeah, intrapersonal. It's where a person, a being, travels through these multiple beings of themselves. And I believe I'm an interpersonal being myself. I just studied it, saw it on a video, and it was talking about it on YouTube somewhere. So I definitely want to dive deeper into that because I do believe I travel a lot through multiple realities of people within me, you know. And so I don't know if there's a such thing really as bipolar. I think that's just the way nature is. You know what I'm saying? But again, another topic for another day. So I didn't mention this, and I want to mention this, that you do go by Modern Madusa, the poet Modern Madusa, correct?
I do, yes, on the weekend.
On the weekend, just on the weekend. On the weekend, she's Modern Madusa. But tell the people where they can find you, Janaye, and where they can get everything else about you and how they can support you.
Awesome. So on Instagram, you can find me at Modern Madusa Poetry. You can find my business Instagram at Modern Mindset Life Coaching LLC. On TikTok, I post a lot of poetry videos and content there. My tag name is the official Modern Madusa. And essentially, if you just have some free time and want to go to Google, type in Modern Madusa Poetry, and you'll find me there.
And I want to do something new for this new platform, right? Because I do believe people are deserving of their time. And so for this new platform, I'm definitely going to be promoting people's cash apps. And so I want people to start, the guests, give out your cash app, because people listening to this should support this conversation and more like these. And it gives incentive for people like you to continue to go on platforms and do these things. So I'm going to start giving out my cash app if I ever get on an interview again. And I'm going to suggest that other people do the same thing. So tell them your cash app. How can we actually support you? I mean, yeah, the other ways we can support you that way, but we want to immediately support you. How can we do that?
I love that, and that's beautiful to do for your guests. I love that. So you can support me through Cash App at #Modern Mindset.
Modern Mindset, Modern Mindset. Go support the sister and her brand. We're about to uplift Black communities, Black people, Black businesses. We want to do this come Black Friday. We're gonna really go Black. Okay. All right. So thank you for listening to Protectors of Peace podcast. Thank you, Janaye Hardy, for joining me on the show. Thank you, my listeners, for continuously supporting. We're back with a stronger platform, and we are here to give you nothing but peace and love. Thank you all, Janaye. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Bye for now. Now streaming on podcast platforms everywhere. The brand new Protectors of Peace podcast with your host, Omaka Zen. Our mission is simple. Our mission is pure. Our mission is bold. Our mission is global. Protect the peace of our planet, our human nature, and our way of life. We will be dropping brand new episodes every first and third Sundays of the month. We will be talking to some of your greatest peace advocates, peace activists, and peace ambassadors. You don't want to miss a single episode, so don't forget to subscribe, download, and share the message around the world. And remember, bold conversations encourage bold change.